Hey, I'm Vibes and this is probably the hardest video I had to make. I will warn you, it's a bit of a drama video, so if you don't want to watch, that's perfectly fine. I will not be making a habit of this. I don't want to be a TF2er, a drama tuber, or anything in between. Do not go out of your way to harass, look for, or overall interact negatively with anyone mentioned in this video. As much as I love TF2, the community I don't really see in a favorable light. I've gone through so much bullshit surrounding this game that some days it's just hard to even play it. I've been part of some good communities, some bad communities, and some communities where all it took was just one bad person to ruin it. And more often than not, I tended to be the scapegoat for things. If you know me, I have a hard time defending myself because I don't like causing more drama. I just tend to let it happen. It eventually devolved into this defeatist mentality of, it's their right to think what they think, who am I to tell them no? But I also kept balancing to, I gotta try to say something, this isn't right. When a similar situation happens, not once, but twice, it kind of messes with you. You start to think, if I'm surrounded by assholes, maybe I'm the asshole, kind of deal. Having autism and Asperger's probably doesn't help much either. The Emporium is an interesting place. It originally started out as a thread on Facepunch for people to work on anything TF2 related. Item submissions, mods, what have you. It's also where I eventually decided to work on giving back to the game I played so much. So I started posting concepts. One day I posted a concept where I just offhandedly called it the Scout Rider. It wasn't the best looking concept, but it was the best I could do at the moment, and I was on a heavy tokusatsu binge. Over time I kept at it, redesigning, redrawing, reworking it. Eventually I settled on this. The Emporium thread really didn't like it, but there were two people who didn't like it more. Drew and Metabolic, who at the time went by Paliachi. To say they were just criticizing it wouldn't be fair. Drew, Metabolic, and myself spent pages of that thread arguing about the concept, with them saying how out of character it is for Scout, how the Scout would never cover his mouth being a fast talker, how it doesn't even fit TF2's art style at all. A bit ironic looking back. Eventually, a moderator stepped in, warned Drew, and banned Metabolic for a few days. I felt guilty at this because something I posted got someone else banned, so like a dumbass, I DM'd the moderator asking to give me the same punishment, and they obliged. In my mind, it felt as if it was my fault, and someone else was getting punished for my actions, so it just didn't sit right with me. Unfortunately, with the shutdown of Facepunch's forums, some threads were lost forever, while what was archived is almost impossible to search through. Few years pass, and the concept ends up getting claimed the same year I find out my mother had ALS, a progressive neurodegenerative disease. Because the set overall was inspired by things I watched with her growing up on her deathbed, I decided to dedicate the set to her, put it in the description, and show her. 4 months later, she passed away on May 4th, so I updated the items accordingly. Probably my first mistake, as some people took it as if I was changing that she died, didn't die. The set meant a lot to me, and both Drew and Metabolic knew that and took as many chances as they could to bash it, until one day, Drew just decided to upload a very similar cosmetic. Funny enough, completely ignoring his and Metabolic's original talking points on why the set was bad. Remember, it didn't match the art style, and Scout's mouth was covered. To say I was upset was an understatement. But of course, to an outsider, it looked like some random person was getting upset that a similar item was made. They didn't have the context. I'd like to say my experience with those two ended there, but it didn't. Drew and Metabolic had a habit of lifting concepts from people, in one way or another, and yet they always seem to deflect blame for their theft by calling theft on others. On many such occasions, I would instead be accused of theft. One such instance was when Drew decided to DM me one day, accusing me of stealing the textures off the MVM tank to turn into a war paint. I'm not exactly sure how he even came to this conclusion, other than he just wanted to be a dick. Just by looking at them, you can pretty much tell there was no way I could even do so. The textures aren't the same, let alone the UVs. Inspired, sure, but not the theft he was claiming it to be. Later, there was another accusation from a now community banned Steam account as a direct result of their harassment from those two. The whole jungle jersey, gravel, blooded mercenary scout thing is a bit different. Everyone seems to keep focusing on the jacket alone and not the overall set. Back before gravel-blooded mercenaries was made into an item, it existed as a full set concept done by myself and refined by Nukes. I posted it to the TF2 Emporium and no one was interested, so it just sat there. Eventually, I got into contact with Ertz, and work started. However, as the item went through multiple delays, Metabolic came out with an eerily similar set. Take a good look at the pants and boots. So similar that you can say it's just our pants, but with a camo texture. Due to this, we scrapped the other two items in our set and made it just the jacket. Because at that point, my name and reputation were completely tarnished. I was known as the guy who steals from the workshop, and going forward with it would just add fuel to the fire. It didn't seem to matter anyway, because I was still called out for stealing from Metabolic. Der Friedensarbiter was an interesting case. Claims popped up that they completely stole the design from Colonel's coat, an item that already existed in-game. I don't really have much to say other than mine's based on the antagonist of a certain robot anime, while Colonel's coat is based on an actual dress uniform. Pay to Plague was another claim that was started by Drew and Metabolic's group. While making this set, Ertz and I both knew the Grim Hat existed. It has been in the game for years, and while it is a good hat, I just wish we had something a bit more waxy and poofy. Thus, the Pestilent Profession was made. And yes, we used a Blighted Break in the promo because, well, the set was designed to complement it. As for the Bubonic Betazin versus the Epidemic Essentials, it was made with the blessing of Pi Savvy. Same with our hat, and went back and forth with them to make sure we didn't step on their toes. The Trotskyist Tricycle is probably the most obvious shit-stirring claim of them all so far. You cannot make a taunt, make the model, animate said taunt, and render 2 SFM videos in under a day. Nothing really else needs to be said. Then there's the matter of an often shared paste spin of my supposed thefts, written and quoted by Metabolic and Drew's group. I'm just gonna be here all day if I go through the entire paste spin. Look at the upload dates. Look at who actually uploaded it. Actually look at each item and compare it to what they claim I stole it from. Don't take it at face value just because it's a list. Here's a bit of speculation and educated guessing on my part. Due to the nature of the following things, it's a bit hard to pin down who exactly did what. With 4chan posts being anonymous, and newly made Reddit accounts posting this, it could have easily been Drew, Metabolic, their little group, or just randoms that decide to hop on the bandwagon and do some bashing. While I can't say with 100% accuracy it is Drew and Metabolic, I can at least say it's similar due to the nature of them and what they have been caught doing before. Either way, I reported it all to the TF2 Emporium staff, from things that could be verified was them and the group to things I was only slightly sure about. Instead of taking any action, I was just called a drama whore, that I was just making things up for attention, or that I was behind it all because I wanted to frame them. No matter what, they always did their best to defend those two, at least until Metabolic and Drew started attacking someone who wasn't me. While I was gone/banned from the Emporium, they still managed to find ways to talk about me. A lot of the old messages are gone, but from what remains, I'm at least able to give an example of how they let shit fester with no real reason. For context, I Drive is Metabolic and Drew is Drew. Funny how they complain about their victim complaining about being attacked. For context, Harry at the time was a moderator who didn't really moderate. If he did, these and other conversations wouldn't have existed, nor have I ever attempted to harm the Emporium. PETA did his best to defend me while I wasn't there, but it all fell on deaf ears. Metabolic and Drew just really wanted to see me burn. And yet again, people just shit on me and try to rationalize it as if I deserve it. What I did to deserve it, they could never agree on. Being a drama whore, them saying I DMCA'd sets, me apparently lying about my mother's death. No one could come to one point, so why not make it many? The newest reasoning, however, is people trying to say I'm transphobic. Again, supplying no proof. And again, if you know me, and know who my friends are, easily disproven. Harry pretty much admits Drew and Metabolic keep shitting on me on a regular basis, as well as a DMCA claim I'll get into later. Here, Gassie's Clay is Metabolic. Metabolic, quick to deflect anything, trying to cover up from himself and his buddies. Also trying to say I DMCA'd my own stuff, yet never supplied anything to back it up other than, trust me bro. No matter what proof I would provide, it was never good enough. It was photoshopped, faked, or staged. Yet anytime I would ask for proof, or others would ask for proof that I was doing it, the only answer ever given was pretty much trust me bro, and people accepted it. Before anyone says anything, I didn't like my own tweets. This was part of the evidence gathered for someone else's video that ended up falling through. I don't remember who this person is. It's a deleted account. What do you want from me? With the target firmly planted on my back, I was pretty much fair game for any ridiculous claim or call to harassment from the Emporium and other TF2 communities. It only got worse as they gained my personal information and would paste my docs to Steam profile comments on the regular. I reported each comment, deleted what I could, and made my profile private for a time just to curtail any damage. But once something is out there, it's out there, and the damage is done. And at that time, I was impacted heavily. This all happened during the time I was in the middle of a move. I ended up finding out I had a lot of services, bills, loans, and more taken out in my name. Due to this, I was pretty much homeless for a while, as I couldn't close on the house, and I had nowhere to go, where I was busy trying to sort out and undo all the damage that was done. Things could have ended a lot worse than what they did. I got very lucky I was able to prove it wasn't me, mostly due to the fact all of it was done out of state, some even on the other side of the country. After dealing with that, I had a few more problems arise. The Emporium started just randomly blaming me for things that'd go wrong or pin others' actions on me. My actions of trying to defend myself from Metabolic and Drew's actions, trying to go public with how I was treated, was instead brushed aside and painted as if I was trying to destroy the Emporium. Was I mad at the Emporium? Yes, because they allowed all of this to happen and pretty much encouraged it. I wasn't trying to destroy them. I just wanted Metabolic and Drew to face consequences for everything they put me through, what they put others through. In regards to DMCAs, my own items were a target of them, out of malice. While I cannot say if it was Metabolic, Drew, or a member of their group, the fact is they were indeed done. It didn't take long for another action to be blamed on me yet again, this time the removal of the badges on the hat Starboard Crusader. Said hat was worked on by Metabolic. Fingers were being pointed at me yet again for something I had nothing to do with. Back when Creators.TF was a thing, I was on their team. I mostly gave updates, ideas, moderated the workshop, things like that. But money started to go missing from the server funds. There was Pateron money that was just unaccounted for. Just gone. Somehow, defying all logic, the blame was pinned on me. Not by the Creators.TF staff, but by some players and the public. The Creators.TF staff thankfully defended me, even having to make a public statement that said, hey, what the actual fuck is going on? Vipes didn't even handle the money. But the damage was done. Most people saw that as Creators.TF covering up my actions. Again, an accusation that wouldn't have happened without the influence that Metabolic and Drew's crew had over the public opinion of me. And if that wasn't enough, I now had to deal with allegations aimed at me for grooming Gravidia and Momo. Gravidia, who was an adult at the time, and Momo, who's actually older than I am. Gravidia got targeted as retaliation for Drew being banned from Lazy Purple's silly servers due to Drew attempting to poorly stalk me there and start shit. Momo got targeted because they were a workshopper who was still willing to work with me, even after all the mud dragging and character assassination that was attempted. Unfortunate as it is, I'm not the only victim of Drew and Metabolic, with some even wishing to not talk about their experiences due to fear of retaliation from the Emporium. The Emporium really likes to protect these two, but at one point Drew and Metabolic ended up finally crossing the line to the Emporium, and they were both banned from the Emporium in TF2 maps. A day before this announcement was made, a post by Juniper Fuzzy Mellows went live, going over the troubles with the TF2 workshop community, how people have been harassed, attacked, impersonated, doxxed, and more. While not directly naming anyone in the thread, a lot of what was said aligns pretty heavily with the previous actions Drew and Metabolic have taken on other workshoppers. Said ban, however, did not last long, and all was forgiven because they said sorry. My only guess is it was simply because they were good at what they do, creating and coming up with items. There was really no other logical reason why two people who have done so much damage were welcomed back with open arms, with what was akin to a light slap on the wrist, a timeout for getting caught. Another victim of theirs is Bonk Nickeltoon. While not a victim of the most heavy attacks, a victim nonetheless. In an attempt to smear Bonk's name and credibility, Metabolic, Drew, and their little gang attempted to impersonate Bonk on Pateron, and unconfirmed, but highly suspected, had a hand in his doxxing. Kibble Knight did not have such luck, however. At one point, Kibble Knight was on the team of TF2 Classic, along with Drew. Around that time, there was a little-known source engine exploit that could allow malicious users full access to someone's computer, intentionally turning any source engine game into a backdoor. Drew took full advantage of this, worming his way into Kibble Knight's files, both personal and work-related. Through this, he was able to get blackmail on Kibble Knight, leading her to be kicked from the team over a bit of an awkward love interest. Drew also managed to snag multiple concepts from Kibble Knight by doing so, one such example being the Vampire Vanquisher. While there are more victims of the two, either via harassment, theft, or doxing, most wish to keep quiet or refuse to come forward due to either fear of retaliation from the Emporium, fear of reliving everything all over again, or just want to leave the past behind them. Or at one point tried, but was shut down to Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender tactics. I'm going to close this video with an open letter to Drew. I know you tried to get your friend to tell me how sorry you were for everything that happened. However, you don't just get to say sorry for ruining other people's lives. And at this point, I can't believe anything you say. I understand if I sound petty, but in all honesty, I have a right to feel this way after what you did. I don't accept your apology. I never will accept your apology, and no amount of you saying sorry will ever fix the damage you and your friends caused. Actually take responsibility for your actions. If you are truly sorry for what you have done, maybe try to publicly combat your own misinformation for once. That would hold a lot more weight than an empty, private apology.